There are voices inside of your head and there are voices outside of you. Everywhere you look, there are voices. Now, the voices inside your head aren't necessarily you, right? There's a lot of dialogues and things going on inside of you, and sometimes they can kind of trick you, and you can think that that's actually you speaking, but it's not really you speaking, it's you listening to just these voices yapping on. And have you noticed around you in the outside world, there are voices there as well? You look around, you got the voice of your parents, you got the voice of your friends, you got the voices of your co-workers, and if you think about it, you hear these voices within yourself, right? So when someone speaks to you, you are listening and it's happening inside your mind. Now, also voices inside of your mind are happening inside your mind as well. I remember one time I was kind of waking up half awake, half asleep, and I was just hearing voices in my head. And I thought to myself, dude, how do I even know that these voices are outside of me or inside of me? And then I realized that there is no difference, there is no separation. All of these voices are happening inside your consciousness. So, where am I going with this? Well, boys, what voices do you believe? What voice is the source of truth? Because as you might have noticed, there are a lot of voices out there which should not be taken seriously. There are a lot of crazies, a lot of totally deluded but certain people who will say shit and just not know anything at all. Um, that is the crazy thing. And now, why is it that we believe voices outside of ourselves? Why is it we believe all these voices? Well, boys, I think it started off in our childhood. So you're with your parents, and you're taught to listen to them. Maybe you've been told or taught to listen to the adults. Now, you start projecting your authority and your knowledge and your wisdom out onto the world to adults and to different people. Then all of a sudden, one day, you grow up a little bit and you realize that not all adults are wise. In fact, a lot of adults are dumb. And now you're an adult and you're pretty dumb as well. Like, how could anyone actually know or be for certain? See, boys, if you get stuck in that and you get stuck in giving authority to external voices, it might be an external voice of a really, really, societally pretty girl. She might be gorgeous, and you give credence to what she says. You give reality. You grant reality to that voice. Then that voice has control of you. Maybe you grant reality to another societal voice, like the voice of your friend or something, who you listen to them and you hear it and you just kind of agree that's reality. Or you're still granting reality to your parental voices. So all of a sudden, instead of actually thinking about what these people are saying and reflecting on it within yourself, you're just accepting it. You're just hypnotically accepting it. This is where the problems really lie, right? Because you completely lose your power. And why do you lose your power? It's because you give away your choice. If you have limited choice, limited options, you have limited power. Now, all of a sudden, you start to see through the bullshittery of all these voices. You say, maybe the voice inside of my mind that's telling me I'm a failure or it's too late, maybe it's just capping. Maybe it isn't to be taken seriously. Oh, wait, hold on a second. If I don't need to take an inner voice seriously, I don't need to take an outer voice seriously. In fact, I don't need to take any voice seriously if I don't want to. So all of a sudden, you're getting attacked, maybe judged, but you don't take that voice seriously. You've taken credence and truth of that voice. All of a sudden, you, who you are, have your power back, just a little bit, and you have more options. And when voices don't take you seriously, and when you don't take those voices seriously, sorry, I've mixed this up, but when you actually have your power back and you become the responsive one and you're no longer reactive, then you become grounded. And it's almost very attractive to see someone who's grounded in their power and in their self. Then all of a sudden you look within and there's this tiny, small, and truthful voice within. You might remember it feels familiar to you. And it's telling you to do this. And it's telling you to do that. So you tune in on that true voice, and all of a sudden your life becomes incredible. Incredible things start happening in your life. First of all the pain and suffering which is created by these kind of nefarious and silly little voices inside of you, you don't see them as seriously anymore. And you're not identified with them. You just notice that they're just voices like all these other outside voices. All of a sudden as well, parental voices, external voices, you see that they're just deluded and doing their thing. They don't really mean what they're saying. And all of a sudden you can have compassion and a bit of space between those voices. And all of a sudden you don't even be affected by anything. And that's powerful, man. That is incredible. That's liberation. One day you might see, and this is what I'm kind of on the leading edge of, because I teach and share what my leading edge insights are, that maybe that true voice inside of you can be amplified and you can speak from truth. You can speak from that little voice in within. And imagine if you had no fears, because your fear is just a voice inside of you. Imagine if you substantially saw through the voice of fear. Where would that leave you? It all starts off with waking up out of the illusion, seeing, becoming uncertain of the things that you were once certain of, going into this space of the unknown and claiming back your own authority, your own truth. This doesn't mean that you're going to ignore what everyone says. It just means that you're going to listen really deeply. Have you noticed that whatever you react to or you're afraid of, you don't properly listen to? You just become unintelligent, kind of goopy, kind of a little bit goopy NPC. But if you aren't reactive and you start listening deep within and listening from a different space, with your personality unattached to the listening, so you're not bringing yourself to the listening, right? The self that you think you're just listening purely. You start seeing things, you start seeing insights. Your mind changes, your identity changes, your thoughts, your beliefs, your emotions change, and they uplift. All of a sudden you're inspired, man. You're in this kind of empty zone, and you stick with the emptiness and you come to it and you realize it's nourishing you in a really beautiful way. If you keep tuning into that emptiness, then amazing things could happen. I don't really know, man. I don't really know what I'm talking about. I'm just speaking because I like it and it's fun. So, thank you.